Number 10. It's all a game. One theory is that the whole thing is just a game. In the very first episode, viewers see some foreshadowing for this theory. Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard, begs his mom to let him finish his latest Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Fans theorized that what viewers see from here on is actually Mike and his friends playing out their latest Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Dungeons & Dragons is a fantasy role-playing game where players guide their characters through various magical adventures and quests. Viewers will notice that the game lingo is used frequently in seasons 1 and 2. The series features the Demogorgon and Mind Flayer, which are both associated with Dungeons & Dragons. And what might be the best piece of evidence to support this theory during the D&D game, Will Byers, played by Noah Schnapp, encounters Demogorgon for the first time, which is exactly what is happening in the show when he vanishes to the Upside Down. Thus, it all comes from the pretend, make-believe world these boys created in their imaginations. Number 9. Stranger Things and Stephen King. Another theory suggests that Stranger Things exists in Stephen King's universe. The weirdness of the series isn't all that different from the weirdness that occurs in many of King's novels. Have you ever noticed how the title for the series and the title of King's novels appear to be the same or a very similar font? Does 11 remind you of a character in one of King's novels, perhaps Carrie or, better yet, Charlie from Firestarter? Also, several of King's stories revolve around 4 friends, all male, the Body and the Dreamcatcher, for example, which sure does resemble the 4 friends from the series. The Mist also reminds viewers of the Upside Down, mainly because they both seem to stem from government experiments gone awry that resulted in the opening of another realm that invades our world, and the fuzzy appearances of each setting are strikingly alike. Number 8. A vampire. This next theory is a bit of a stretch. Fans hypothesize that Bob Newby is a vampire, and according to the theory, spoiler alert, they say that he isn't really dead. He is actually a head vampire who wants darkness to prevail so that he can freely walk the earth. This notion kind of has a Lost Boys feel to it. Close one eye and squint real hard, and Bob does sort of resemble Max from the Lost Boys. Fans also suggest that Bob dressing up as a vampire for Halloween is a hint to his true identity. I'm just not sure I can buy into this one. What about you? Number 7. It's a fungus. The next fan theory we will explore is one that proposes that the monsters of the Upside Down are fungi. This explains how the Upside Down is able to spread at such a rapid pace, since fungi are among the fastest spreading organisms to populate the globe, and they feed on death and decay, much like the monsters of Stranger Things. Additional support of this particular theory is that monsters share a hive-like mind and are a small piece of a whole. We see this behavior as the monsters in the Upside Down are all drawn to certain locations in an attempt to destroy them. Said monsters also recoil from excessive heat, as we see when they attempt to sweat the evil out of will. Fungi are also heat sensitive. Number 6. Hopper's daughter was also experimented on. This is an interesting theory that could possibly make sense if you pause and consider some of the unknown factors that revolve around Officer Jim Hopper and the death of his daughter. Early in the series, we learned that Hopper lost his daughter, who presumably passed away due to cancer. Speculation around this theory implies that perhaps she is not actually dead but somehow involved in the same experiment that 11 was. We must assume, since our heroine is called 11, that there was once a 1 through 10. In fact, we know this is most likely true because we met 8 in Season 2. Could Hopper's daughter somehow have been one of the remaining unknown 9? Furthermore, if Hopper's daughter was really part of the same experiment as 11, could she in some way still be in the Upside Down? Number 5. 11 is Hopper's daughter. Okay, maybe Hopper's daughter isn't dead after all. Fans speculate that 11 is actually his biological daughter. This theory does have some holes in it. For example, would Hopper not recognize her as his daughter Sarah? It has been theorized that the lab that did the experiments on 11 and other children could have manipulated Hopper's memory, stole his daughter, and implanted the idea that she had died of cancer when the lab actually stole her to take part in the experiments. One other bit to go along with this theory is the fact that even though we've met Eleven's mother, the audience does not yet know the identity of her biological father. However, at least some of this theory is partially true. Hopper is able to adopt 11 toward the end of season 2, so essentially, she is his daughter. Number 4. The Upside Down is 11's dreams. This theory definitely holds water. Fans suggest the Upside Down doesn't really exist at all, except in 11's head. This idea comes from various sources as well. Could her childhood traumas, whatever they may be so severe that she has retreated to a world created in her own head as a way to escape what is really happening to her? Unfortunately, the abuse is so bad that even in her make-believe world, things are horrific. This could make sense because 11 is the one who has most of the power in this scenario. Or, if 11 is Hopper's daughter and undergoing cancer treatments, could the Upside Down be a hallucination brought on by the strong medications used to treat her cancer? Perhaps the Upside Down is what she's dreaming about while in a drug-induced coma as a part of her cancer treatment. Number 3. 11 is the monster. Could 11 really be the monster? She said it herself in the finale. Fans are well aware that the Upside Down is sort of a strange duplicate of the real world. In the real world, 11 is a very powerful girl, but in the Upside Down, could her strange duplicate actually be the monster? This could explain how she is able to recognize both Will and Barb in pictures up in the real world, because her monster duplicate has seen them in the Upside Down. Another aspect of this theory is supported by the monster resembling the Demogorgon from the Dungeons & Dragons game previously mentioned. According to the game, the Demogorgon is a two-headed creature that is in constant battle with itself. This suggests that while neither like one another, they need each other to survive. We kind of see this play out in the season 2 finale. At first, it appears that 11 defeats the monster and is able to close the gate between the two worlds, but in the next clip, we see the Upside Down is actually still there. 11 and the monster are most defiantly connected, but are they one and the same? Number 2. Bob is from Derry, Maine. This may be one of the best theories out there and yet another Stephen King reference. In an earlier episode, Bob Newby makes a reference to a childhood fear that he had when talking to Will. He'd tell him he was afraid of clowns but eventually defeated that fear. Does this plotline sound familiar? You guessed it, this is strikingly similar to Pennywise from It. The state of Maine is often the setting for many of King's novels. Bob mentions being from Maine and even suggests that Joyce and the boys relocate to the state with him. Furthermore, the timeline seems to fit. Bob would have been a young boy in the 50s as Pennywise wreaked havoc on the youth of Derry, Maine. It is safe to assume that in the 1980s, he is a grown man living in Hawkins, Indiana. On a side note, the actor who plays Mike also stars in the 2017's It remake. He even utters the very same line in both the series and the movie. Holy shit, what happened to you? Number 1. Alien. Of course there would be a fan theory that goes this route. Remember when Joyce and Hopper are making their way through the Upside Down looking for Will? At one point, they pass an infamous yellow leathery vein-outlined egg-shaped web-covered item. It appears to be a large hatched egg of some sort and bears a vague resemblance to the egg seen in the Alien movies. Perchance, is the egg seen in Stranger Things a distant cousin to those Ripley encounters in the Alien franchise? Stranger Things has yet to enlighten audience members on much of anything related to that egg. At one point, we do see the Demogorgon interacting with an egg just before 11 makes a psychic connection with the beast. Fans wonder if the monster is eating the egg or if the monster laid the egg. Either way, It won't be until the new season is finally released that we may or may not get any answers as to what the egg's purpose is. This concludes our 10 theories about the Stranger Things Netflix series. Be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys next time.